Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel. And the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. Yes indeed folks, first of all, we're still in the month of January, so Happy New Year. For those of you who have not had the opportunity to see any of my videos in the new year, Happy New Year, lots of health, success, and happiness in all your endeavors. Enjoy your families, enjoy your careers, enjoy whatever you do. That's what it's all about. And what this channel is all about, of course, is fountain pen collecting, paper, inks, journaling. So that's what we do here. And this is another weekly recap. Yes, it's the weekly recap for January the 19th, 2025. I've got a really nice show for you. I've got my cappuccino, of course, so sit back, have a beverage. You got timestamps, look at what you're interested in and what you're not interested in. You can certainly skip. And of course, you're more than welcome to watch the whole thing. Consume it as you wish, as they say. I'm there at your pleasure and my pleasure, because for me, this is fountain pen therapy. So without any further ado, here is my weekly recap for January the 19th, 2025. Okay, so here we are. First thing, for those of you who may have noticed, last week there was no weekly recap. I did one on January the 5th. I did not do one on January the 12th. The reason being was that last week, and not this current week that just ended, but the week prior, I was in Florida playing golf. Yeah, we decided to go for a week. My wife and I, she enjoyed some of the beaching, and she needs to have sand and salt water at least a couple of times a year. So there you have it. And I needed to play some golf with my buddies who are all down there. Most of them are retired. They're there for months and months and months. As you know, I'm from Montreal, Canada. It's cold up here. And a lot of the snowbirds who can afford it go down to Florida and spend several months there. It was fun meeting up with them. I managed to play 3 games during a 7-day stay. It was fine. It was a little cold, mind you, and we had to deal with some frisky temperatures, which is unusual for Florida, at least not that cold. But you know what? It certainly beat the 2 snowstorms Montreal had and the -12, -20 temperatures. So it was a good break mentally and physically, and I'm back. And now here you have it. We have the January the 19th recap. I've got a great show for you. I've got a lot of stuff to cover. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the first part of this show. As usual, I'd like to look at, one second, let me just look at my notes here. What's new in the market? Well, first of all, the Chinese pen market. As you know, I like to concentrate on that market. And what's in right now appears to be wooden or stabilized wood pens. I see a lot of offerings out there. Several weeks ago, we saw these titanium pens being offered, and now we see a bunch of stabilized wood pens. And of course, the main feature in my view is the Asvine C200. As you know, if you follow my channel, I did publish during the week a video on the pens that I received, and there's a couple of things that I want to talk about with regard to the Asvine C200. So without any further ado, let me just go to my overhead camera, and so that we can take a look at what it is that I'd like to concentrate on. 1 second, I'm just going to move things around here so we have room. Okay, here are the 4 pens that I have, or that I ordered. I like them all. I got to tell you, these are all beautiful, very beautiful colors. Now, I just can't remember why I have what I thought were 2 red pens. I received them and I said, there must be a mistake, because, you know, I may have just pushed 2 instead of 1, or put in my cart 2 Asvine reds inadvertently and didn't bother to check. And of course, all 4 came in. But no, I think the explanation there is that I think Asvine has in fact, and let me just go to my computer to show you what I mean. Just bear with me here. What is it? 4. Yeah, when you take a look at the Amazon site, what you'll notice is that in fact there are 4 colors and not 3. This one is what they refer to as blue-red. So there is a blue-red one and there is a red one, as it turns out. Now, that's why I think I ordered both. Now, am I mistaken? Perhaps not. Are the red and the blue-red the same thing? It doesn't look like, because you see, when I click on red, I get red here. When I click on blue-red, I get blue-red, and then I get green, and then I get light green. So all to say that I have all 4 of them now. So I can't for the life of me remember why, but I suspect that that's one of the reasons. Now, that's the first thing I wanted to mention to you. So be careful. If you want your pen to look a little more red than blue, go for the red. And if you want this beautiful, I think this is a beautiful blue-red, then choose the blue-red if they're still in stock, because I understand that some of these colors may not be in stock, but I suspect they will be very, very soon. That's the first comment. The second comment is that I took a look at this video, and I'll just put up the YouTube template here, from a video reviewer by the name of YouTube reviewer by the name of Pensane. And I got the same comment, I believe, for a couple of my viewers, mentioning that these pens, unfortunately, because they're made out of stabilized wood, have a tendency to dry up on us. Now, first thing I want you to look at is that what they're claiming is, well, first of all, their own experience with the pens. They found that they dried up. I haven't touched these pens since my review, which was basically early this week. So we shall do a sampling and see if indeed the inks have dried up. Yes, they're claiming that because this is stabilized wood, even though it has a little bit of resin, this material is very porous, and that therefore, I guess, air must go through here, which forces the nib eventually to dry up. Except that when I look at the barrel of this cap, I am convinced that I see a plastic, a complete plastic overhaul there. There's kind of an insert there, there is also a step up. Now there is a void right at the end there. There appears to be just kind of a dot. Is that enough to let air in through that porous material? I'm not sure. So look out for that. I'm not sure whether any other reviewers will mention a drying issue with these pens, which would be unfortunate because these pens are absolutely, absolutely gorgeous, to the point where I'm almost convinced they will be my pen of the year or my Chinese pen of the year, but we shall see. It's too early to tell. Now, the other thing I'd like to do is let's test my pens and just see whether or not they have, there is any drying up here. This is the blue red, and it's got the stub. Well, folks, there's no drying up here yet. And it's got Dieman ink. So this is the 1.1 stub. That's fine so far. Let's look at this green model. This has the fine. So this is the Asvine green with the fine nib. So far, so good. And then I have my light green. With the medium. I don't see any drying up, folks. Now, it's too early to tell. It's a week. I'll keep you advised. I'm going to try not to use these pens for the remainder of next week. Now, of course, my red is not inked, so there's no point in showing you that one. So far, so good. So I'm sorry. I don't know why Pensane saw some drying issues or other viewers. I certainly have not had any so far. Is it a question of the ink? I know that Shanghai Dude mentioned in one of the replies about the drying up that perhaps you should first make sure you clean up and just, you know, kind of wash out the feeds and when you get the pen. Folks, I'm going to give you a secret or tell you a secret, and it's not something I recommend. I never wash out my pens when I get them. I just ink them up. I just have a tendency to ink them up. If it's a converter, I will go 4 times in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Does that serve as a, pre-wash perhaps? And I've never really had any major issues, but that's not something I would recommend. I think the protocol, the proper protocol, is to wash out your pen when you receive it. It rinses out any residues, etc., etc., etc. So that's the second comment that I would like to make with regard to the Asvine C200 to keep you folks up to date. Secondly, in my review, I was not certain whether or not that feed was actually ebonite. The more I look at it and the more I've seen other reviewers, I think the consensus is going to be that that's just a big plastic feed. Very nice feed, but it's a big plastic feed. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if anybody has kind of made a definitive determination of the material of that feed. But I've got a feeling that we're dealing with a very nice, but a very plastic feed. So there you have it. That's the first comment in terms of what's new in the market. Those are my comments with regard to our beautiful Asvine C200. What else have I got for you? Well, the second thing I'd like to mention is that, we're talking about pens and wooden pens. Well, there is the Dieman A7, and this is my version of the Dieman A7. I will put on the screen what is being sold now on AliExpress. And I think you'll be able to appreciate that my A7 is a little shinier, and it's got some kind of a coating here that the most recent offering does not have. The most recent offering appears to have a more matte finish, less glossy finish than the one I have. Now, of course, I had problems with mine insofar as you can see here the inside. Let me just remove this. You see that? It just swings. It turns around. I have yet to glue it. It just came off. I think it just unglued. And I thought that perhaps that was the issue that they had repaired. But the more reviews I see on the A7, the more I realize, and I've got one from Teresa Harris that reviewed her A7. And I think there's also one from another one. There's a couple out there, and they all appear to have a more matte finish. So I think the one I have, the original A7, has a more glossy finish. I really like the blue that Teresa Harris reviewed. I think I'm going to order it, but right now I checked on all the retailers or the vendors for that A7, and no one has that blue version. But I'm sure that it'll come out again, and as soon as it does, and that'll give me an opportunity to have the glossy one and the non-glossy or the more matte finish. So that's another one in terms of, wooden pens and offerings. Then we have the Jinhao 58, as I mentioned last week, and here is just a shot of that. The Jinhao 58. I haven't ordered that pen yet. It's got this, very simple kind of a Lamy Safari nib that I never really enjoyed. I'm not sure I will ever order that pen. It's just not in the cards for me. But there is the Jinhao 9056, and there's 9056. Some have called it the 9058. Here is a picture of both offerings that I saw on AliExpress. You see here a series of colors, beautiful colors, I got to tell you. Now, the one I have is this one. It's far from being those beautiful colors that I've just put up on the screen. It's got this more kind of a tiger embossed cap, and the wood is just regular wood here, regular wood finish with no real color. Never used this pen. I ordered it very, very, very some time ago, but there you have it. So you got the 9056 or the 9058, and then you have this other offering that appears to be really interesting, and I put it up on the screen. What that represents, and these look beautiful. Very expensive, as you can see, $200 plus. But I got to tell you, very interesting, and maybe something that you guys may be interested in if stabilized wood is what interests you. Now, what else have we got in the Chinese pen market? Well, we've got the Mahjong C5, and I got to tell you, folks, that's on its way. I've ordered it. Here it is. I'm looking forward to receiving this Mahjong C5. It looks like a very interesting filling mechanism. I know the Shanghai dude has kind of reviewed that system. He likes it. It's novel, and we'll take a look at the pen. And it's a transparent demo. Another one from Mahjong. Appears to have an original design, so it's been ordered, and I'll let you know when it comes in. I also want you to look at Jinhao 2025, the snake, because this year it's the Chinese, the Chinese year is the snake, the year of the snake. So I've got a feeling that we're going to start to see more and more Chinese pens dedicated to their annual celebrations. I don't like this pen from Jinhao, so I've not ordered it. But there you have it for those of you who are interested. Then you have what they refer to as the Kukang 2000. Here it is. I'll show you a picture of it. I think it's meant to be a kind of an imitation or heavily inspired Lamy 2000. Now, I didn't like the Lamy 2000, so I'm certainly not going to like this Kukang 2000. So I don't see me ordering it. But for those of you who may be interested, there you have it. Those are some pens from the Chinese pen market anyway that may be of some interest. What other pens have I looked at? Well, Gold Spot Pens has got this Magna Carta Mag 650. Very, very beautiful. So it's got a new color. Prismatic, I think, is what they refer to it as. I love the color on this 650. So those of you who have not ordered that Mag 650 with that beautiful 14 karat gold flex nib, get on it, boys and girls, because I tell you, it's one of my favorite pens in my collection. It's a lot of fun, and it's a true flex. What else have I got for you? Well, I've got Pen Chalet. They've got two Bennu pen offerings. They've got this Bennu Pixie. Fun little pen here, as you can see on the screen. I'm not sure I'm going to order it, but for those of you who like Bennu pens, there you have it. And their Pen Chalets and other retailers are also offering this Bennu Daily Matte or Mate pen. I think it might be a new model that Bennu has come out with, different colors. So there you have it, Bennu new offerings for 2025. What else have I got for you? Well, I've got my friends at Atlas Stationers. They have this, who, by the way, is going to be my feature for this weekly recap, and we'll get to that at the end. But right now, I saw this Leonardo Momento Zero fountain pen, primary manipulation 4.5 with a rose gold trim, an Atlas exclusive. Take a look at this pen. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous pen. So the fans out there for Leonardo Momento Zero pens, and especially that primary manipulation, and on top of it, it's an Atlas exclusive. There you have it. Good job at Atlas. Thank you very much, Brendan Schmidt, for always being there for us with some very interesting offerings. What else have I got for you? Well, I've got our friends at Appleboom. Appleboom, I noticed there's the Magna Carta Mag 600 in this Verde Royal GT fountain pen. So again, Magna Carta, a variation in terms of materials and colors. I find it very, very interesting and somewhat different. So again, those of you who have not yet to order that Mag 600, there you have it, another offering or another model or materials or color for you. What else have I got for you? I've got Stilo e Stile, as you know, one of my favorite Italian sites. Always got interesting stuff. They've got a winter sale going on, so I suggest that you take a look at that. There may be some offerings that are of interest to you. Two pens that I'd like to mention, and their prices are just fabulous. Take a look at this Pelikan M1000. I think the price there, roughly 400 euros, is something to consider, because I believe the Pelikan M1000 regularly goes for a lot more than that. And then you've got two Tibaldi models, the Model 60 and the Bologna. You see, great pricing on those pens. I think those Tibaldi pens are very, very nice. So I wanted to mention to you that these are great prices. If you're interested, there you go. Now, what have I got for you in the ink market? I don't have much for the time being. I know I've received some inks that I'm going to be reviewing that I'll mention in a few minutes, but two other inks that I want to mention that, for those of you who have seen my Ongdian ink sets, I thought I had the whole set, all of the inks that are offered on Amazon, but I think I missed two have since appeared. Here they are. First of all, there's the light red. Here's a picture of the offering. And then we've got the Peach Blossom. Here's a picture of the offering. Both inks were not included in my review. So for those of you who are interested, please take a look at those. I don't think I'm going to order either one of them just because I've got two other red inks from Ongdian, and I think that's enough. So I don't think I will take the bite here and order those two additional ones. But I did want to mention to you, and I think one of my viewers even pointed it out, that there's two additional inks there offered from Ongdian. What's new in the pen and notebook market? Don't have anything new for you other than I've mentioned in the past that I don't believe that the new Tomoe River Sanson paper is up to scratch. I'm hesitating to purchase any more of it. What I've done instead is I've just stocked up on anything that I can get my hands on, be it just paper or notebooks or journals, and even agendas, frankly, that have the original Tomoe River paper. And I've got a bunch that I've stocked up on, and I'm constantly looking out for them until, of course, it completely runs out. Just because I don't trust the new Tomo River Sanson paper. And here is a review where the reviewer is Julia here, a YouTube video on that I recommend you check out, where I believe the reviewer goes out and proves to you why she believes that there may be some defective paper there that needs to be dealt with. So buyer beware there. And there may be other reviewers that will soon come out with the same observations. Perhaps one day I will actually do an in-depth review comparing the two and maybe providing even further evidence of what my suspicions are with regard to the two papers. It's one thing to say that, the Sanson is a little bit different from the original, but it's another thing to say that it's just not performing well. So those are the issues. Okay, so that's what I've got for you in terms of the first part of this recap. A second part that I'd like to review, and we'll get to it in a second, is YouTube reviews. What have we got on YouTube in terms of other reviewers, in terms of what reviews I've done this week and what's coming up? So here it is. First of all, actually, let me take just a sip of my coffee because my mouth is drying up. I'm talking too much. Okay, what have I got for you in terms of what I recommend in terms of viewing from other YouTube reviewers in our community? ShackMD, I got to tell you, what I noticed is that Shaq has gone through a little bit of a transformation with his camera angles, and I think he's got a beautiful Sony camera there, even better than the one I have. And he's got different angles, and the angles swift around with some very nice music to show you the samples. Congrats, Shaq. Your videography or your cinematic talents are being exploited there, along with your knowledge. So congrats. What I would recommend is that he just published a video where he compares the J16 and the Majon TI or P136, the titanium version. And let me just go to my overhead camera. I'd like to show you what he pointed out in his video. He compared essentially these two pens, and he compared them also both to the Montblanc 146. And he came down, and I think he appreciates better, and he thinks this is the winner, the Majon P136 or TI 136. For all of the reasons that I invite you to take a look at. One of the main flaws that he saw in this Asvine J136 is that this ring here protrudes to the point where after a while, for long writing sessions, it becomes an interference and a pain on your fingers, especially given how he writes. I don't find the same, but of course I've not had the opportunity to write with this pen for 10-15 minutes for any long duration. But he does believe that this pen is a little more attractive, especially the hammered version, which is very, very expensive. I think I have a tendency to agree with him. It's just a prettier pen, and it kind of looks more titanium than the Asvine J16, but I don't have the same criticisms as he does for the J16. I think this is also a very, very nice pen, a little bit lighter, and that's where he thinks it kind of looks plasticky. Yes, because it is lighter, much lighter than the Majon. But there you have it. I think a very interesting review. He's got also some nib swaps that he talks about in these two pens, which is very, very interesting. And his writing samples, of course, are just an absolute art. And just to take a look at his writing samples with that music, I think is worthwhile. So I invite you to take a look at that. Now, what else have I got for you? Well, I've got, this reviewer by the name of, or the channel is Wonders Unlocked. He has a specific review on Mackie E. lacquered or Raiden mother of pearl Admoc M800s. Wow, when I learned that there's an actually very affordable Mackie E lacquered M800s or Raiden mother of pearl M800s and the Admoc M800s at extremely affordable prices, I jumped on this review and tried to look for them. And unfortunately, it doesn't provide a link. I'm not sure a link exists as we speak today. I think that any offerings, and I also remember a viewer mentioning that to me in one of his comments. I can't find any. Whatever I found are out of stock. I think it was 365 day stationers on AliExpress that offered that. I'm going to write to that supplier and see whether I can get my hands on them. But I thought that that could be an interesting review for you folks, especially if you can replace one of those nibs, Schmidt nibs, with the Pelican nib, as I've done and as I've demonstrated in last week's recap. A third review that I recommend is the Teresa Harris has a comparison of the new styled A7 Hongdian A7 compared to the C2000 that I think is worth a shout. So shout out to Teresa. Beautiful review. There you have it. And she's got that blue version, a little more matte, and that I want to get my hands on that I mentioned earlier. Then I got my French friend from Fontaine de Plume who looked at a Leonardo pen with that 14 karat elastic nib, and he mentions at the beginning of the review that he kind of dedicates that review for me because he heard that in 2025 I want to give Leonardo another chance. Not with the Yowo nibs. I'm not going to buy another Leonardo pen with Yowo nibs. There's no point in my view. But I've since learned that maybe some of their gold nibbed offerings, including this 14 karat elastic nib, may be something to look at. There's some discussion about whether or not these are in-house nibs or modified nibs, especially for Leonardo. So I'm going to give Leonardo another try. And this is one of the reviews that convinced me to do it. So if you're looking for or have similar sentiments about Leonardo and do want to look at one offering with their gold nibs, I recommend my French friend from Fontaine de Plume. He does review in French, but he talks so slowly, precisely, that the transcript is so accurate that you should be able to follow it. And some of his writing samples are also written out in English, so you can see his commentary there, all in English. So I recommend it. If you do speak French like I do, well, then it should not be a problem. There you go. That's in terms of other reviewers. What have I got this week? Well, I just want to shout out my own reviews. We've got the Asvine C200 review. Here's a template of it. I hope you enjoyed that. Take a look at that. It's doing very well because it's just going to be a very popular pen. In addition, I had my Mystery Titanium pen, and I've got some comments about that in just a few minutes. But there you have it. That's also another review that's interested a lot of you. So if you haven't had a chance, take a look at that. And lastly, I've got my Hongdian ink set review. Here's the template. I know a lot of you appreciated that. I think those inks are absolutely fabulous. I really recommend them. In that review, you'll see all my swatching. You'll take a look at the colors. If you're interested in buying very reasonably priced, and I think they're 60 millimeters. I got one right here. Are they 60 or more? 1 second. I think they're 60 millimeters. Milliliters. 60 milliliters. So very nice bottles. Hongdian, I recommend them. Check them out on Amazon, on the Amazon site. So that's for my weekly reviews that have already been published. What have I got coming up? Well, here's what I've got coming up. First of all, I got a surprise Grail pen coming up that I wanted to share with you. Oh, just 1 second. I got to show you. I got a new prop for my Grail pens that I want to show you that's going to be in my B-roll. Just 1 second. I've got to show you this. Okay, what it is, look at this. I got myself a Grail, the Grail chalice, if you will. I bought this on, I think it's AliExpress. Didn't cost too much. But so in the future, right now for my Grail pens, you have a kind of a template of the Grail a chalice that I got it on one of the sites that I'm subscribed to. But from now on, you'll see the real thing. I've got it. Here it is. So I just wanted to show you that I'm constantly investing in props to make my videos. And as you know, I really enjoy making those short videos with the music. It just gives me fountain pen therapy. So that Grail, so in the future, the Grail pens will have that chalice, I'm sure, featured. So I do have this one, a beautiful Grail pen that I have to going to be reviewing, and actually the review is done, just going to be publishing. It's a surprise. That's why in the template you don't see what the pen is. Another surprise will be, as I mentioned last week, my first Monte Grappa pen. And now all these new Chinese pens are coming to the fold, and you guys really love that. So they kind of taken the place of these pens, but eventually these reviews will be published. So I have my first Monte Grappa. Here it is. Again, I'm hiding the pen. It's a surprise. And thirdly, I have another Chinese, a new contender on the block, so to speak, that I mentioned last week as well. Here again, I'm hiding in the template the pen, but that's coming up, and maybe sometime very soon, unless some other, Ongdian, Asvine, or Majon offering gets or is put out, and then of course I'm going to have to kind of push this one further along. There's also my part 3 comprehensive guide to fountain pen friendly paper. Here's the template that's going to be published sometime soon. Maybe I'm going to reserve that for when I cannot do a recap, because it is a lengthy video. So maybe that will be used to take place of a weekly recap when I, for whatever reason, unable to do one. And lastly, but not least, is my notebook setup for 2025. I have a special review for that I do want to put out. And again, as soon as I can, I'm trying to mix up inks, pens, and journals as much as I can. So that will be published sometime soon. So there you have it. When it comes to YouTube reviews and what I wanted to mention to you this week. Now, what's the next part? Well, part 3 of this recap we're going to take a look at what's new in the fountain pen therapy studios. What have I got? What have I got for you? What's coming up? Do some writing samples, show you some new stuff. So why don't we take a look at, we're going to go to my overhead camera. First of all, I'd like to mention some of the inks that I think are in the mix. So here is, okay, here we go. First of all, again, I want to repeat that sometime very soon I'm going to be reviewing. I think I've decided that I'm not going to do swatching this week. And I'm going to reserve the swatching of these inks in a separate review, because I do want to do all 5. That way you'll have one resource, one video reviewing these beautiful inks. These are the Dieman, what is it, 160 year? Yeah, 160 year anniversary inks. They're just beautiful inks, and I do want to do one complete review, so you'll be seeing that sometime really soon. Again, I just wanted to repeat that. I'm working on the video as we speak. And then what else have I got for you? Well, finally, my friends at Van Dieman's, they had sent me this a couple of months ago when I ordered it, but then it got stuck in the mail strike that we had in Canada, and I just received it this week. Now, the big test is that it may have been stuck in a cold place somewhere for a lengthy period of time. Hopefully everything has been thawed out. I haven't checked them out yet. In fact, this is the first time I opened the box. I wanted to do it live in front of you. There you have it. Just like, I got a $15 gift card. I've got some swatch cards. That's interesting. I'm going to probably use these when I do my review. I've got some interesting stickers from Van Dieman's that come with this. That's interesting. It's the first time I've seen that. And of course, you've got the kind of a catalog that goes through each of the inks and what they stand for and all of that. Look at this quality product. I've got to tell you, heads up to Van Dieman's. And of course, you got Van Dieman's. You've just got a more just kind of a summary of some of their inks. And here they are. I've got January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Now, these are 12 inks. I'm not sure whether I will be reviewing all of them in one major review or whether or not we will be doing 4 at a time, swatching during my recaps. I haven't quite decided yet, but I just wanted to mention to you, and I know I've mentioned it before, that I had ordered these inks and I had yet to receive them. But there you have it. I have my 2023 collection and now 2024. I think I'm going to favor a separate review so that it becomes a resource for some people. If it's hidden away in a recap, then, we may never be able to, search it properly. So it may very well form a separate review. So there you have what's new in the fountain pen therapy studios with regard to ink. If I got anything for you for paper, I don't believe I have anything for you for paper per se. So let's take a look at what I've got new here for pens. Okay, a couple of things I want to mention. We'll go to my overhead camera again. First of all, I wanted to mention that for my vacation, when I went on, just for, almost 8 days in Florida, I brought with me 12 pens that were all fit in this pen case. But I wanted to mention how much I appreciated my Wing Sung pens. These are the Wing Sung, 690, I believe? 699s, which of course are, inspired by the Pilot 823 with that vacuum fill. Just absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed these pens. I brought with me 3 of them, red, blue, and another one that had kind of a green ink in it. This is kind of the brown smoky resin. And all 3 pens just performed great. They're vacuum filled that you can shut off with a shut-off valve. So did not leak during my the descent and the ascent on the plane. And the other one was the Wing Sung 630 with, of course, that huge number 8 size nib, which writes just fabulously. I actually emptied the barrel in my writing journal because I did a lot of writing during that short vacation. So I had no more ink in it, and from there I went to my 699s. But I did want to mention to you that if you're going to go on vacation, don't want to bring with you expensive pens, running the risk of losing, more highly priced gems. These pens just performed absolutely in an exemplary fashion. So that's one thing. Another thing I wanted to mention. The other thing I wanted to mention is, what did we receive? Well, we received, remember I mentioned that I was going to order this V60, Majon V60. Again, regardless of what any other reviewer might say, I really love this pen. Yeah, there may be some issues with removing the nib. I didn't have any. It's a little stiff, but it does come out. I couldn't find the 1.1 stub, which I think are fabulous, but I have the 1.1 stub separately. But I did want to show you, for those of you who have yet to order this pen, this is the transparent version. that are out. I believe you have a couple of colors that have since been are being offered, and I did want to get this. And of course, you could see through the barrel the functioning of that piston, which in my view functions very, very nicely. Yes, there is this triangle at the top, which is kind of something we're not used to because usually we have a rounded, body. But again, beautiful, beautiful pen. And I think this transparent version is a nice addition to my collection. So there you have it. I did want to mention to you that I did order this pen. Now, what else have I got for you? Oh, I wanted to show you this pen. Now, I'm not going to do a separate review of this pen, but I did want to show you a writing sample with the pen. Now, I found this on AliExpress. I'm not sure what this pen or what it looks like. It's referred to as limited edition luxury Japan crest brushed aluminum fountain pen. I will put on the screen just a template of the offering on AliExpress. And I wanted to show you how this pen writes. And I wanted to show you the nib. I think the nib is really nice. It has this funny feedback that I did not want to remove from the pen because at one point I thought I may want to give it a little smoothing, but I thought I'd do it. I'm going to bring down my microphone. I just want to show you what it looks like right out of the box. So I'm going to call this, well, there it is. Unfortunately, it dried up on me, which is not a good sign. But that's because it has this kind of a mechanism, this filling, which has never been my favorite and which I had a hard time. Let me just prime this pen because it's the nib that because I'm going to try to replace that converter. I never liked those type of converters. Let me see if I can show you what I meant. Yeah, I'm having a hard time priming this. Okay, here we go. Now it's got some paper. It's very scratchy, but I never had a scratchy pen that wrote so well. And the line is very, very thick for a fine or even extra fine. Take a look at that. Look how much ink comes out of there. It's kind of, I'm not going to say to you it's Sailor pen-like because the Sailor is much smoother than this pen, but I just like the feedback it offers. It's kind of a little more than Sailor chalk and a little less than an awful scratchy pen because it puts down ink like you wouldn't believe. So this is the pen right out of the box. Now you're going to give me 2 seconds. I'm going to pause this video because I'm going to give this nib a smoothing. It's not expensive, so I don't care what I do with that nib. But I want to see if I smooth out that nib, whether or not I get an even better performer, because it may very well be a pen that you may be interested in. So give me a second. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now, what did I do? I should have perhaps showed you live, but what I did is that I used these mesh. These are the mesh I have. I ordered these on Amazon. They're micro meshes, for those of you who don't know, which go from coarse to less coarse to fine, different colors. So I took this first one, which is very coarse, 1800. Then I used this one, which is the 8000, and then the 12,000, and just kind of do crazy eights, and and a little bit of this way and this way, and that's what I did. Now let's see what kind of result I have. I did check it here, but I'm going to repeat this. Wow. I gotta tell you, this little pen, whatever they call it, people rave about the Pilot 95S, the Elite 95S, that 14 karat nib everybody raves about. I think it's an overrated pen. Yes, it is probably the best 14 karat, or the cheapest anyway. I think it's overrated. I've never really enjoyed it. I never use it. Frankly, I think it's just too scratchy for me. At least mine is. And this thing is much better than that E95S. I gotta tell you, now that it's no longer a fine or an extra fine, I can tell you that much. It's now certainly a medium, if not, some would say a Japanese broad, and smooth like a gold nib. So check out this little pen. It may be worth your while. I'm going to see if I could replace that converter, because it just doesn't suck up ink properly, and maybe it makes this pen not worthwhile. But I'll let you guys know. If any of you understand or know what this pen is about, I'm trying to see. It's difficult for me to see what it... One second. Yeah, so I tried to look up, at the nib to try to figure out what the inscription is on that nib. Unfortunately, I can't, even with a loop, I just can't figure it out. I don't see any other, descriptions or annotations anywhere else in the pen. I sure as hell like that nib. It kind of resurrected a little bit my interest in these inlaid nibs that I never thought very highly on, and maybe that will convince me to get a Waterman Cut-N or pens like that, or even the Parkers. But I got to tell you, nice little pen. I forget what I paid for it. I'll put it up on the screen, but it wasn't much. I liked the way it looked, that nib, and I got to tell you, after a little bit of smoothing, beautiful. So there you have that. Now, what else have I got for you? Oh, yes. I wanted to show you that I don't know if I mentioned this already, maybe last week, but I did get this pen. This is a pen offering from Mr. Cypress with the 18 karat nib. Very nice. I will be doing a detailed review of this. I think this little pen is just absolutely gorgeous with this resin. So we will be doing a review of this pen sometime very, very soon. Now, what else have I wanted to mention to you? Oh, yes. You'll remember last week I showed you how I swapped the Schmidt nib in this AdMock 800, M800, with an actual Pelican M800 nib that I bought on sale on the site of Giardino Italiano. Some of you mentioned that there were little notches and that it would leak. No, the notches are on the original feed that comes with the Pelican. There I agree. If I would have used that original feed, there may have been notches on both sides, which would perhaps have leaked, unless you're in the real thing. But I use the same feed I use the Schmidt feed. So the only thing that's different is the Pelican nib. Some of you mentioned that the Pelican nib may not stick to the feed. Mine appears to be right on. So there's no large space between the feed and the nib. And you know what? I put it upside down this way for an entire week to test if they would leak. No leak whatsoever. So there you have it. So I did want to reference that to say mine worked. My nip swab worked perfectly. Not a problem. What else I wanted to mention? Oh, yes. If I could find it, just give me a second. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Okay, I'm back. If you guys take a look at my review of this pen, this is the mystery titanium pen that I found on AliExpress. It kind of doesn't have any name, if you will. What's interesting about this, for those of you who did not see my review, what's interesting about this titanium pen, first of all, it's huge. And secondly, it has a number 8 sized Jinhao nib. And it is a, not a piston filler, but an eyedropper. And in the eyedrop, there was this ball that I removed because I felt that the ball would just interfere with the flow. And I was wrong, apparently, because I got a bunch of comments from you, from the viewers. Tacklebury says this in his comment: yes, put the ball back in. Think of it like an Ackerman ink bottle. The ball is going to regulate ink flow and perhaps stop burping. I can see burping being a big issue with titanium as it heats and cools quickly. So he's suggesting that it'll regulate flow and prevent burping. Similarly, Conrad Yearwood 5845 commented as follows: I suspect the ball is a low-tech version of providing a double reservoir system. All you need to do to recharge the feed reservoir is tip the pen up, then down, quicker than backing off a piston valve. P.S. Also, being a metal pen, if I dropped, the air in the barrel would heat it up quickly when in the hand and cause it to burp, thus the ball. It looks like you can use a normal sized refill or converter, which would not be as prone to heat transfer from the hand by removing the ball. So a couple of interesting things. I think he talks about the burping as well. And yeah, one of the things I didn't check here is whether or not I could put a standard converter in there. Certainly I couldn't put the big Jinhao converter. But anyway, so anybody getting that and seeing that ball, I did want to mention to you that maybe there is indeed a very interesting use for that ball. So I may very well clean it up and put it back in and see how it works out. And if I have any difficulties or anything, I'll let you guys know. So that's something else I wanted to mention. What else did I want to talk about in my pen haul? I believe... No, that's it. That's it for that. Now, part 4. In my part 4, I've dedicated the main feature of this recap to Atlas stationers. So, a couple of things there. So we're going to get right to it. First of all, let me just take a sip of my coffee. First thing I wanted to mention for Atlas stationers, I mean, we've got a real winner here, folks. I got to tell you, Gold Spot pens, Apple Boom, these are all really nice retailers that really love our community and are always there for us. And lately I've been appreciating more and more Atlas stationers, and let me explain. First of all, Brendan Schmidt is on, social media constantly. I mean, this man must be a workaholic, okay? He's there for us at all times. He provides us with information. He's always updating his sites, etc. He's on Discourse as well. And I discovered what he does, I think on a regular basis. I'm not sure if he does it monthly, but I think he does. What he calls the experienced pen sale. Wow. I just happened to stumble on it because it was taking place, I think. And I connected to the Discourse server, and I opened up an account. And so what he does is that he puts up pens up for sale, but ridiculous prices, okay? And people have to kind of bid for it or say yes, and you click yes, and there's a whole process that you have to follow and not do it too prematurely. It's only when the green light goes on, I believe, that you can click. And if you're the first one in, you get to buy the pen, and then, of course, you pay for it, and it's delivered to you. Some of the pens may have minor defects or minor, somebody returned them because they don't like them. And, if there's any major, he points it out. But, most of them are returns that he's got to sell out, or maybe he wants to just sell his inventory for whatever reason. Great stuff. There was so many good pens up for grab on all kinds of price points, all kinds of, brands. And I got myself a real gem. So Brendan Schmidt, thank you very much. I will be there next episode of this experience sale. And now that I know how it works, let me tell you, you may find me bidding for pens more often than not. But I wanted to show you the gem that I got. Now, this is, for me, is going to be a Grail pen, no doubt. But 1 second, I'm just going to kind of put up my, okay, we'll go on my overhead camera. Okay, so I got a Visconti pen. Let me get rid of this Japanese pen. I don't want to mix it up. This is the pen that I end up buying at just an absolutely fabulous price for what I got, okay? And this, to me, is one of my Grail pens that I've been looking for. And you know what? I now have it, and I'm going to be reviewing it in detail. But I wanted to share with you the types of things that you can get on Atlas Stationers. And Brendan, you're a real winner, my friend, real winner. Here it is. Wow, folks. Isn't that a gorgeous writing instrument? It's the Opera, and it's a Visconti with that beautiful 18 karat nib. Is it 18 karat or 14 karat? No, 18 karat. I have not inked it. I have not done anything with it because I'm waiting to do a detailed review. It's got this push mechanism. It's got also, I don't know how many facets, but it's got more than one facet. It's got that beautiful finial system. It's got weight. It's got girth. Oh, let me tell you, when I saw this pen, I quickly built for it, and now that I've seen it in person and been delivered to me, man, am I lucky. So it came out, with all its paraphernalia, etc., etc., etc. But isn't that and I love this color. I'm always looking at blue, but this gold is just an absolutely gorgeous writing instrument. So stay tuned for this additional Grail pen. Thank you, Brendan, for putting this pen for sale. And good show, Vince, for having won the push of the button. And stay tuned. There's going to be more for sure when they happen. So that's one of the features I wanted to point out from Atlas Stationers. The other one is that while he was delivering we were in the process of finalizing the paperwork and the payment for that Visconti, he mentioned to me, he says, would you be interested in reviewing one of my pens, one of my exclusives? And I said, yeah, no problem, send it to me. So he sent me an 1898 Conklin. Now, I have reviewed the 1898 before, and I'll show you some of the pens that I have. So I'm not going to do a detailed review, but in this feature of it, I wanted to show you how this Atlas Stationer's exclusive. Now, here's the pen. It comes with a little instructions there. It comes with a nice booklet along with two small cartridges. The box, the Conklin box, is similar to the Monteverde. Are always very nice. They always do a great job. And but I wanted to show you how beautiful this pen is. It's got an absolutely gorgeous, really deep, chatoyant, resin. It's got some of this gold or maybe silver kind of shimmer that matches the ring there. It's an 1898. Is it 1898? Yeah, 1898. It's really the All-American, just a limited or a special version of it. It's got that nice Conklin, very springy clip. And it's got the Conklin steel, which I believe now are made by Yowo nibs. Now, I had quite a few of 1898s before. Let me just show you what I do have in my inventory. Here they are. These are 3 All-Americans, which are very similar model to the 1898s. Then I have the 2 other 1898s that have come out already in the rose gold and in the silver finish. Also very nice resin. But I've got to tell you, this Atlas Stationer's exclusive beats them all. Very nice. Thank you, Brendan, for this pen, by the way. Really nice. It's a cartridge converter. Now, I have already inked this pen, and I'll show you the ink that I've used. One of the issues that I've always had with these Conklin All-American pens is kind of a little bit of a dry out problem where the ink dries out quickly. So I did not want to put in any shimmering inks. So I've inked this for about a week now, and I've not used it. So I want to see whether or not, history repeats itself in terms of drying out. And we'll do a writing sample, because the pen is just absolutely gorgeous. Recommend it. I really do recommend it. So let's do a writing sample. And hopefully I'm not going to embarrass Atlas Stationers. But I did, need to be fair here. If there is a problem, then you folks need to know about it. It's a, is it a broad or a medium? It's there, but I can't see it. It's a medium. So this is the, oh, I'm glad, no dry out. Conklin, I keep forgetting the number, 1898. And this is the Atlas Stationers exclusive. Yeah, and I think it's simply referred to as the blue, in blue. Oh, there's no drying here. Thank goodness. Let me just close up. The ink, or the nib, I should say, is a number 6 steel Conklin branded. And I believe they are now, these are kind of specially made Yowo nibs. Very nice medium, smooth. The ink that I'm using is this ink. One second, I'll show you the swatch. It's not the Konpeki. Is it the Kujaku that I'm using? Yeah, the Kujaku. Here it is. Isn't that I think it's a perfect match. It's the Irushuzo Kujaku, because the pen kind of It has, oh, sorry, here you go. It's kind of a tealish blue. You got it? I think this is just a perfect match. So that's what I matched it with. So the ink is the Hiroshizuku. And I keep forgetting the names here. What is it? Kujaki? Yeah, Kujaku. My apologies. Kujaku. Now the nib is very smooth. Very wet. And so far, it's constant. That drying out problem, at least not in this pen, is not there. Maybe they fixed something. I don't know. Maybe there's something else that or perhaps it was always the ink that I was using with the other pens that caused the problem. It's certainly with this Hiroshizuku, which, as we all know, is just a beautiful ink in terms of performance. I've had no issues. Is the nib springy? No, it's fairly stiff. You know, like typical Yowo medium nib. Fast writing, no issue at all. As you could see, the feed just keeps up. Reverse writing, yeah, not a problem. You get, I guess, what I would say is a Yowo extra fine type of line, you know. So there you have it. Now, what are the likes and dislikes of this pen? Well, the likes is the all-American design. I've always, as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 5, and now this is the 6th pen. I always liked that all-American design. It's a nice, big, girthy pen. And now the 1898, of course, what makes it even better is that beautiful band. So the center band is very nice. But I think the highlight of this pen is the resin, you know, which is Atlas exclusive. I mean, these are well-priced pens, and, you know, with that resin, it just, I think it beats this version of it, in my view, much nicer. I mean, if you're going to get an 1898, this is the one to get. The nib, surprisingly enough, is also performing excellent. Now, where will we be a week from now? Will it give me, you know, drying issues? We shall see, but certainly none so far. So kudos to Atlas Stationers. So dislike, I got to tell you, my only dislike would have been the drying issue. And so far, it's not applicable. So there you have it. Thank you, Brendan Schmidt. There you go. My feature for Atlas Stationers. Thank you very much. Man, this pen combined with that Visconti, it had to be my feature. It had to be my feature. Now, I'm not going to give you a writing sample of the Visconti. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to read about it. I'm going to do some research. And I'm going to do a complete review. And, of course, Atlas Stationers will be all over it as well, because they're the ones who allowed me to finally purchase my second Grail pen for 2025. The first one is a secret. And you'll wait for that. So I don't know which one I'll publish first, this one from Atlas or the other one that I purchased from, I can tell you where I purchased it from. I purchased it from Peyton Pens. But having said all of that, Thank you very much. There you have it. That's my feature. So thank you for joining me. That's it for this weekly recap. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you you have a great week. Stay tuned. There's pens galore coming in. Pens galore coming in. Lots of fountain pen therapy for all of you. For those who've joined me for the first time and are not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps the channel. Like Hemingway Jones says, it helps to keep the lights on. Although I think the lights will be on anyway. But you know what? If it suits your fancy and you feel it appropriate, then it would be greatly appreciated. So there you have it. Thank you very much. Ciao. Arrivederci.